Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about capacitor and capacitance. What is a capacitor? Capacitor is a system of two conductors separated by an insulator. Actually, we can store charge in the capacitor, and it is an essential component next to resistor, which is used in almost all the electrical and electronic devices. Now let's see, how does this capacitor work? So we are going to consider two conductors, and these two conductors are placed parallel to each other. Okay, and these two conductors are assumed as electrically neutral. What do you mean by electrically neutral? These two conductors, they have equal number of positive and negative charges. Okay, and between these two conductors we are going to place a dielectric material. Okay, so this is a conducting plate, and this is also another conducting plate. Okay, and this is the dielectric material. Okay, so now here we are going to connect a battery. So this is the positive terminal of the battery, and this is the negative terminal of the battery. Okay, so when we connect the battery between the two parallel plates, what happens? As soon as we connect, actually before we connect the battery, these two plates are electrically neutral. So when we connect the battery, what will happen here? Here, let us assume this plate, which has equal number of positive and negative charges. Okay, so what are these negative charges? These negative charges are nothing but electrons. So when we connect the battery between these two plates, the electrons from the top plates are attracted by the positive terminal of the battery, and these electrons are again attracted by this plate. Okay, so all the electrons from the top plate, so all these electrons from the top plate will reach the positive terminal of the battery. Again these electrons will come to the bottom plate. Okay, so these electrons will reach this bottom plate. Okay, but these electrons cannot flow through this dielectric, because we know that these dielectric will not allow the electrons to flow through it. So all these electrons will be accumulated in the bottom plate. Okay, so what will happen here? Here, the top plate, there will be an shortage of electrons, but in the bottom plate, there will be excess of electrons. Okay, so here there will be the shortage of electrons, and here there will be an excess of electrons. So because of the shortage of electrons, this plate becomes positively charged. Okay, so because of the shortage of electrons, this plate becomes positively charged, and similarly this plate becomes negatively charged. Okay, so this plate becomes positively charged and this plate becomes negatively charged. So this plate will be at a higher potential and this plate will be at the lower potential. So because of the potential difference, so there will be the potential difference between these two plates. Okay, and because of the potential difference, there will be an electric field. Okay, because of the potential difference, there will be the electric field in between these two plates. Okay, so what is that electric field? That electric field can be calculated by E is equal to the potential difference divided by the distance between the two plates. Okay, here the electric field between the two plates is equal to potential difference between the two plates divided by the distance between the two plates. Okay, so if smaller the distance, okay, so here if the distance is smaller the distance, then stronger the electric field. Okay, smaller the distance, then stronger the electric field. Okay, the electric field will be strong if the distance is small between the two plates. Okay, now one question will arise: till what time the electrons from the top plate will be attracted by the positive terminal of the battery, and those electrons will reach the bottom plate? Okay, this is a very important question. Okay, so till what time this will take place? Until the developed voltage, that is the developed voltage is nothing but the voltage or potential difference between these two plates. So until the developed voltage is equal to the supply voltage. Okay, so the process will continue until the developed voltage is equal to the supplied voltage. So in this way we can store the charges in the capacitor. Okay, this process is known as charging of a capacitor. Okay, now we are going to see the very important concept here. What will happen when we remove the battery? Okay, so now we are going to remove the battery. What will happen? Okay, again, even when you remove the battery from the two plates, whatever the charges are already stored, it will be there. Okay, so even when you remove the battery, the top plate will be positively charged and the bottom plate will be negatively charged. There will be the potential difference between the two plates. Okay, so now we are going to see the another important term here. The another important term here is discharging. Okay, discharging. So now we removed the battery from the two conducting plates. Okay, so now here the top plate is positively charged plate, and here in between these two, what do we have? We have dielectric medium. It is a dielectric material. Okay, and this plate is negatively charged. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We are going to connect a bulb or resistor or anything. Okay, so I am going to connect a bulb here. So As soon as I connect the bulb, what happens here? The electrons from the bottom plate which will start move through the bulb. Okay, so here let it be the bulb. The electrons from the bottom plate which will start move through the bulb and which will reach the top plate. Okay, when the electron starts move, that is the flow of electrons which constitute a current here. Okay, so these electrons will move through this conductive path. We can also call this path as conductive path. Okay, and these electrons will flow through this conductive path and which makes the bulb to be turned on, so that the bulb will be glowing now. Okay, so the bulb will glow now. So the electrons from the bottom plate which will flow through this bulb and which makes the bulb to glow. Okay, and those electrons which will reach the top plate once again. Till what time this will happen? Till all the excess electrons from the bottom plate, it should reach the top plate. Okay, so all the excess electrons from the bottom plate, it should reach the top plate. Okay, till the time the bulb will be turned on. Okay, after that the bulb will be turned off because no more excess electrons are present. Okay, so till that time the bulb will be glowing, but after once if all the excess electrons reach the top plate, the bulb will be turned off. Okay, this process is known as discharging of the capacitor. Okay, so when we connect the battery to the two conducting material, then it will be charged. Okay, even after the removal of the battery, there will be the potential difference between the two plates and the energy will be stored in the form of electric field in the capacitor. Okay, but when we connect the any resistor or any bulb between the two parallel plates, there will be the discharging process will takes place. Okay, hope you all of you understood what I mean by charging and discharging. Okay, and also we discussed two terms here. One is what is the electric field between the two plates. That is, electric field is equal to potential difference between the two plates and the distance between the two plates. So smaller the distance, stronger the electric field. Okay, and because of the accumulation of charges on the, that is negative charge on the bottom plate and positive charge on the excess positive charges on the top plate, there will be the potential difference. So we can also write it as charge Q is directly proportional to potential difference, and we can also write Q is equal to CV. What is the C here? C is nothing but the capacitance of the capacitor. Okay, C is the capacitance of the capacitor. Okay, so C is equal to Q by V. This is a very important formula. Okay, so what is this capacitance of the capacitor? Capacitance of the capacitor is equal to Q by V. Now let's see what is the unit of this capacitance. Actually, usually we will measure charge in terms of coulomb, right? So the SI unit of charge is coulomb. And what is the unit of potential difference? Potential difference, or which is measured in terms of volt. Okay, so here we can also write the unit of capacitance. Actually, the practical unit of capacitance is farad. What is the unit of? Okay, so But practically, this farad is a bigger unit. So, normally, we will use the capacitance as practical unit of capacitance as either we can use microfarad or micro means it is 10 power minus 6 farad, or we can also use nanofarad or picofarad or millifarad, milli 10 power minus 3. So these are the practical units of capacitance. Okay, now let's recall what is a capacitor and capacitance. Okay. So what is a capacitor? A system of two conductors separated by an insulator is called a capacitor. Okay. And it contains two oppositely charged metallic conductors at a finite separation. We discussed this now, right? And it is a device, that is capacitor is a device by which capacity of storing charge may be varied simply by changing separation. Simply by changing separation means what? By changing the distance, okay, or the medium between the conductors. We are using the dielectric material, no? So by changing the material medium, the capacitance can be varied. Okay. Yes. Here is the expression for capacitance. Actually, we know what is a potential difference. Potential difference is the work done per unit positive charge in taking a small test charge from conductor 2 to 1 against the field. Okay. And here we can also write V is proportional to Q, or the ratio Q by V is a constant. This constant is known as capacitance of the capacitor. Okay, this constant C is known as the capacitance of the capacitor. What are the practical importance of this capacitor? For large C, P is small for given Q. Okay. For large C, V is small for given Q. This means, what is the meaning of this statement? A capacitor with large capacitance, a capacitor with large capacitance can hold large amount of charge. Okay, a capacitor with a large capacitance can hold large amount of charge Q at a relatively small v. This is the most important practical importance of a capacitor. Okay. Yes. The constant C is the capacitance of the capacitor. Okay. And here one thing is very important to note is C is independent of Q or V. That is, the capacitance of the capacitor is independent of charge and potential difference. Okay, even though C is equal to Q by V, C is independent of Q or V. Okay, the capacitance C, which depends on, then what are the factors on which this capacitance depends? It mainly depends on shape. It mainly depends on shape and its size. Size is also very, very important. And the separation, okay, separation between the two parallel plates. Okay, so what are the factors on which capacitance depends? It depends on shape, size and separation. Okay. Then these are the units of capacitance. Actually, the SI unit of capacitance is, that is, 1 farad is equal to 1 coulomb per volt. Okay, because we know that C is equal to Q by V. The unit of charge is coulomb and the unit of voltage is volt. Okay, and the most common units are microfarad, nanofarad and picofarad. 1 microfarad is equal to 10 power minus 6 farad. 1 nanofarad is equal to 10 power minus 9 farad and 1 picofarad is equal to 10 power minus 12 farad. Okay. And here is a symbol of a capacitor. Okay, this is a symbol of a capacitor. Normally, the fixed capacitor with a fixed capacitance is symbolically represented like this. Okay. And the capacitor with a variable capacitance is represented by this symbol. Now let's see what is the principle of a capacitor. The capacitance of a conductor increases appreciably when an earthed conductor is brought near to it. This is the basic principle of a capacitor. The capacitance of a conductor increases appreciably when an earthed conductor is brought near to it. Okay. And now let's see the most important definition is what is dielectric strength. Okay, what is dielectric strength? The maximum electric field that a dielectric medium can withstand. The maximum electric field that a dielectric medium can withstand without breakdown. Okay, without breakdown means what here? What is the meaning of this statement? Actually, we studied that between the two parallel conducting plates. What do we have? We have that dielectric medium, right? So the dielectric medium, which is nothing but which has insulating property, right? So the maximum electric field that a dielectric medium can withstand without breakdown means without losing its insulating property is called dielectric strength, and this dielectric strength is different for different materials. Okay, so the maximum electric field that a dielectric medium can withstand without breakdown, that is without losing its insulating property, is called dielectric strength. Once if its breakdown takes place means that dielectric medium which may also behave like a partial conductor. Okay, and Again, this is a very, very important point here. There is a limit to the amount of charge that can be stored on a given capacitor without significant leaking. Okay, this is also very, very important point. Okay, so first you should understand what is dielectric strength. Dielectric strength is what? The maximum electric field that a dielectric medium can withstand without breakdown is called dielectric strength. And we can also say that the dielectric strength of air is 3 into 10 power 6 volt per meter. Okay. And there is a limit to the amount of charge that can be stored on a given capacitor without significant leaking. Okay. So hope you all of you understood what is a capacitor and also capacitance, right? Tomorrow let us discuss with few more important topics or the parallel plate capacitor and effect of dielectric on capacitance. Okay, thank you students.